The world is not fair, and the sooner you accept this brutal truth, the sooner you can stop being its victim. Right now, while you are watching this, someone less intelligent than you is commanding more respect. Someone weaker than you is wielding more influence, and someone with fewer skills is living the life you want simply because they understand the dark psychology of human nature. You have been programmed to play by rules that others broke long ago. You have been conditioned to be nice while others are being strategic, and you wait for respect while others are simply taking it. You have been told since childhood that life will reward fairness and that playing by the rules guarantees success. But the game is rigged against those who believe good intentions matter more than psychological dominance. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli observed a harsh reality. Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers. He understood that power dynamics shape outcomes, and human beings follow self-interest, not devotion. While you are busy playing checkers with good intentions, manipulators are playing chess with calculated moves. Today, I am going to share 7 dark psychological principles that will transform you from someone who waits for fairness into a ruthless, strategic genius. You will learn how to build real strength, command absolute respect, and become dangerously confident. But I am warning you, once you see the matrix of human psychology, you can never unsee it, and you will never be able to play the victim again. Before we begin, I want you to drop this declaration in the comments to lock in your mindset. Strength over fairness. Let's get into it. Number 1. Fairness is a psychological trap. Fairness feels good to believe in, but this belief creates a fundamental weakness. It makes you dependent on external validation and recognition, rather than your own internal capability. When you operate on the assumption that fairness will determine your outcomes, you develop what psychologists call an external locus of control. You place your success in other people's hands, making you vulnerable to those who know fairness isn't the primary operating principle of human interaction. Stop waiting for fair treatment. Machiavelli noted, "He who seeks to deceive will always find someone who allows himself to be deceived." When you expect people to play by the rules, you become predictable and exploitable. You must stop asking, "Why isn't life fair to me?" and start asking, "How can I succeed regardless of whether life is fair?" Shift your focus from hoping people will treat you right to creating situations where treating you poorly costs them something they value. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I rely on capability, not fairness. Number 2. Complaining signals weakness. When you vocalize complaints about unfair treatment, you inadvertently signal to others that you see yourself as a victim of circumstances rather than someone capable of changing them. Complaining might feel satisfying in the moment, but it invites further testing of your boundaries and causes people to view you as weak. Machiavelli observed that men should be either treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries, but cannot do so for grave ones. Constant complaining about minor unfairness shows that you only have the power to inflict slight injuries through words. Instead of complaining, you must switch to strategic response. When faced with disrespect, do not let your emotions drive your external behavior. Process the frustration silently and ask yourself what capabilities you need to handle the situation better. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My response is strategic, not emotional. Number 3. Competence over entitlement. True personal power comes from your ability to create value, solve problems, and achieve results regardless of external conditions. Many people suffer from entitlement-based thinking. They assume they deserve respect or opportunities simply because they are good people or worked hard. But Machiavelli understood that he who builds his power on the people builds on mud. If you rely on others' good favor, your power is inherently unstable. You must build competence-based power by developing skills and capabilities that make you undeniably valuable. When you are competent, you stop negotiating from a place of weakness. You stop needing validation because your results speak for themselves. Real strength is recognizing that you don't need anyone to hand you fairness. You force it through undeniable results. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My competence is my power. Number 4. Psychological dominance trumps likability. This truth will shatter your people-pleasing programming. Being respected is infinitely more valuable than being liked. When people merely like you, they take risks with your feelings because they assume you are safe and will always forgive them. Likeable people are predictable, and predictable means controllable. Psychologically dominant people are dangerous. They are treated with caution because everyone knows they will defend their interests. Machiavelli was direct about this. It is much safer to be feared than loved if one has to lack one of the two. This does not mean being a tyrant. It means having a reputation for being fair but formidable. Stop asking if an action will make people like you, and start asking if it will increase your social power. Let others compete for your approval instead of constantly competing for theirs. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Respect over approval. Number 5. Decisive action creates superiority. Here is where most people destroy their influence. They make weak moves repeatedly instead of strong moves rarely. Psychologically weak people constantly threaten consequences they never deliver, training others to ignore their complaints. Psychologically dominant people give fewer warnings, but when they act, their actions are decisive and memorable. Machiavelli observed, if an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. In social dynamics, this means your response to a pattern of disrespect must be disproportionately strong to create a permanent psychological impact. Do not nag, do not plead, and do not make empty threats. When you set a boundary, follow through completely so that people understand the exact cost of crossing you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I act with decisive force. Number 6. Narrative control is psychological warfare. Most people focus entirely on their actions and ignore the story being told about those actions. This is a massive mistake. The same action can be framed as leadership or arrogance, confidence or selfishness. The person who controls the narrative controls the meaning. Machiavelli wrote, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality." People do not have the time to investigate every situation thoroughly. They rely on the simplified story they hear. You must proactively frame your actions to serve your interests. If you cut off a toxic friend, do not let them paint you as cold. Shape the narrative immediately to show that you are protecting your boundaries. Always consider not just what you are doing, but how what you are doing will be perceived. Shape the story before others shape it for you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control the narrative. Number 7. Fortune favors the prepared. Want to know the fastest way to lose your power? Put all your trust in one path, one relationship, or one plan. Vulnerability comes from dependence. When you depend completely on one thing, that thing controls you, and if it disappears, you are finished. Machiavelli stated, "Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great, but willingness alone accomplishes nothing without preparation." You need options. When you have backup plans, alternative paths, and financial or emotional independence, you cannot be cornered or trapped. Power respects power, and true power means always having the ability to walk away. Build multiple foundations in your life so that no single event or person can destroy your peace. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I prepare for everything. If you do not master the dark psychology of human influence, someone who has mastered it will control your life. Manipulative people are exploiting those who still believe in fairness, while psychologically dominant individuals are positioning themselves for absolute success. The world doesn't reward the nicest person. It rewards the strongest, the smartest, and the most strategic. Stop being a slave to your emotions, stop waiting for permission, and start taking what is yours. If these dark truths have awakened something in you, hit the like button to show you are ready to stop being naive. Share this with someone who needs to understand that niceness without psychological strength is just weakness. Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we are going deeper every single week into the architecture of power. Now stop refusing and start dominating. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am the strategist.